I want to share a few tips today to help you with your pain or with your injury at the minute. I applied these tips when I was working in a rehab center in London, and I found they worked really, really well, not only for pain management, but for actually helping them recover from, whether it was a shoulder tear, a knee pain, low back pain, disc problems, and everything in between, many, many injuries and different sorts of pain that I saw. And I want to give you those 3 tips today. And the first tip to think about, let's say you just came to me and say, hey Josh, I've got a labrum tear in my shoulder. Will this get better? Now, what I'd say is, okay, well, let's first, chat to the physios. Where's the rehab? Where's the treatment been? And where are you at? Okay, let's do what we can. Now, it sounds very simple, but we often think that when we're in pain and injured, we have to just sit on the sidelines, or I give up. I've got this pain, I can't do anything. But 90% of the time that you can do something. We just need to figure out what that something is. So I would see, okay, well, you've got right excruciating shoulder pain. We've got a lower body. Why don't we start moving with the legs? Why don't we start doing some strength training with the legs? You've got the other side of the body, and that's actually point 2. I'm going to come on to that. So essentially what I'm doing is, like a scientist, I'm seeing what we can do. And that's the question I want you to pose to yourself. You've got this injury, you've got this pain, but what can you do? What other areas can you strengthen? If there's knee pain, okay, can I start strengthening my upper body? Doing some posture work, doing some pushes. Got excruciating shoulder pain. Okay, how about we can hold weights below our navel, below our belly button, so the weight isn't coming down into the body, it's now below us. And how about we do some leg strengthening? See what we're doing? We're doing what we can. And what this will do will help with inflammation, because movement is anti-inflammatory. Just because you're moving the lower legs doesn't mean something's not happening there with the shoulder. When there's a lot of pain and there's an injury, there's a lot of inflammation. So we need to soak up that inflammation, and one of the best ways is movement. So my first question to pose is, have a think. Do what you can. What can you do around this area of pain or injury right now? Cool. Point number 2, as always, got my notes here. 2 is something called cross-education. Now this is fascinating. Kind of similar to the first point, but a bit more specific. So cross-education is essentially when you're training a unilateral limb. Unilateral means one side of the body, and you're actually getting a therapeutic conditioning effect on the other side. So let's use my shoulder example. Shoulder tear. What we're going to do is now just work the left side. Might be presses, might be horizontal presses, rows, curls, movements that we can do on the left side of the body. Sorry, I got an itchy nose. And what this will do, it will help strengthen and condition the right side. Something very fascinating there, and really good research to back this up as well. Again, just because you're training one side doesn't mean that side's just getting worked, because nothing in the body works in isolation. If you move your big toe right now, your brain is firing, your spine is firing to connect the nerves together, your knees working, your hips waking up. So just because you're moving the big toe doesn't mean everything else in the body isn't essentially activated as well. There's a bit more studying to be done with this cross-education, but it's really good, and I saw a lot of good results doing this. Again, over time, this doesn't just happen overnight, but let's say over a 6 to 12 week period, if you have this shoulder pain injury, okay, let me just work my left side of the body. Let me see what happens. Again, helping condition that side without going into the side, because remember, you never want to go where the pain or injury is, because that's the signal to, hey, don't go there. So you're conditioning it without actually going into it. Again, helping with inflammation and so many other markers that are going to help with the recovery and help strengthen it. So look, cross-education. The right knee is really bad, start training the left side of the body. If the left hip is unbelievably in pain, there's a tear, there's something there. Okay, let me work unilateral on the right side of the body. I'm not going to go too specific into exercises today, but I want you to think of that. Think, okay, how can I train the other way? Now, if you're thinking, I've got low back pain and there's nothing really to train either side, well, look above and below. Look above the area of pain and look below the area of pain. That isn't as specific as cross-education, but it's still the same principle. You're looking around the area of pain to what? Strengthen and condition without going into that area. And again, saw some really good results with that approach. Cool. I hope you're enjoying this so far. Last point is to look at your diet. Often overlooked. When we're in pain, when we have, an injury, the last thing we really want to do is give up on movement, but give up on our nutritional health as well. And I do get it. When you're more sedentary, you're more inclined to pick the ultra-processed foods. You're less motivated, right? But when you've got a good gym flow, you're training well, your level of motivation to eat better is generally higher. But think, nutrition is such a huge part of the process of health. The food you eat has information. And if that information coming into the body is ultra processed, refined, packaged meals all the time, no vegetables, chocolate bars, takeaways, then that information to the body isn't favorable to pain. We want to think of the information coming in through our food as supportive and favorable for this recovery process. And I'm going to get on to a few more specifics. But food is healing, right? Food can be anti-inflammatory. Food can be inflammatory. So we need to think about what we're feeding ourselves to give us the utmost, the best chance of recovering. And the food we eat is one of the most important things that we can do. Especially if you're not moving much, we want to make sure we're providing the body with as much vitality and nutrients as possible to help us overcome this injury and to promote that healing process. So a bit specific. Now, nothing's revolutionary. It's really just tapping back into the basics. Foods high in zinc, such as shellfish, seafood, oysters, mussels, if you like that sort of thing. Green leafy vegetables, can't go wrong. Nutrient dense, vitality. Organ meats, due to the nutrient richness. So you can get a lot of liver, you can tap into kidneys, and you can even go down the other realms of things. It sounds a little bit like, ooh, but organ meats are really nutrient rich. Again, this is very person dependent. I'm just giving you some recommendations. Bone broth for collagen. So collagen, very supportive of bone health and anti-inflammatory. And all of these, again, just sticking to the basics with nutrition, all of these are vital, nutrient dense, giving you the information to your body saying, this is supportive of my injury. Instead of donuts, cakes, alcohol, refined food, ultra-processed foods, etc., etc. Which one's going to be more favorable to the recovery process? The nutrient-dense side, right? And I'm not saying never enjoy a chocolate bar. You know my approach by now. What I'm saying is give your body the best fighting chance. Simple as that. Give your body the best fighting chance by providing the body as much nutrients as possible and vitality. And again, working with the points above, this really, really does help. Cool. Should we leave it there? So do what you can, cross-education, and look at your current diet. And again, I'm not saying this is how to, I'm saying this is what I saw personally work really well, and there's evidence to back up what I'm saying. But give it a try, Give it a try, and I think it will really, really help. And please do let me know if you need any more help, specific help. I'll pop a help form if you have a really specific injury, you just have no idea what steps to take, then drop me a message on there, and I'll be in touch. I'll be in touch straight away. So thanks for your time. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you soon.